So tell me what's the difference is between a manager and a leader?
So, thinking about that, I would say that obviously manager is someone who is, implementing, has staff, has to get things done, moving things forward. A leader is someone who's setting the tone, moving, broader, strategic in some sense. But I think the two work together very strongly, and it's very important to have the leadership that's there, that's guiding a direction that you need to go in, but have the managers and leaders working together. And managers themselves are also leaders. I don't think we can say that managers are just managing the day-to-day activities of whatever needs to be done, but they are together trying to get to the objective, and in our case, an objective which is serving Canadians better in the future of the public service.
You said that their traditional roles, the traditional manager roles, will need to change. How do you mean?
So I think in that instance, you can imagine a world where managers were given a budget, were given the directions that they needed to go in, had to, worked within their confines of what they needed to do. I truly think that now there's so much information out there. There's so much change, technological change. There's, advice being provided throughout the public service to all those that are able to influence decisions at the end of the day. And managers can't function within the confines of what they were used to functioning in before. I said in my speech that I think, again, managers and leaders previously were managers and leaders by definition. I think now the difference is that we all have to earn the respect of those that we're working with, because information is out there, everything's out there. And so to be able to deliver on whatever mandate it is that you have, whatever specific thing you're doing, you have to be able to take all those inputs into account and show that you're collaborative, taking everything into account, having different perspective, what do stakeholders think, et cetera. And therefore, you have to earn the respect of those that you're working with to be able to function in this environment.
Is that what you meant when you said that they will need to be more personal? I thought that was a fascinating sort of choice of words that you used.
Yeah, I mean, more personal. I mean, for me, I think the thing is, it is more personal for me. And so I view all of this through that lens. For me, I've got a few more years in the public service, quite a few actually, and I was seeing what the public service, what was happening, the change around us. I was seeing that the morale in the public service wasn't necessarily the best, and there's everything that was going on around us, and I really thought that. For me, it's personal. I'm going to be here in 2020. I want to make sure that the public service remains relevant and that we are serving Canadians in the best way possible and that we're efficient, effective, value for money. I want people who join the public service to be as excited and inspired as I was when I joined the public service. I remember years ago, although I have a long time still in the public service, I joined many, many years ago. It was the place to be. It was where you could make a difference, and I really believe that's still the case. I just want everybody to feel that, and that's why I think it's personal.
I want to read a quote back that you said it in your speech. You said, "If you are comfortable with what you are doing, you are leading in the past." Could you elaborate on that?
Absolutely, and that's also very personal for me too. If we continue to do what we've done always, of course we're going to be comfortable doing that. That's easy, right? But everything is changing around us, globalization, technological change, expectations of the public are changing, and even employees' expectations are changing. And with, with all that, if we continue to behave in the way we have behaved in the past, we're leading what was going on in the past. All of us need to look to the future and what we need to be as leaders and managers in the future to be able to deliver on serving Canadians.
But which of course brings me to the obvious, it seems to me, and that is, we're still working in very hierarchical organizations, and it's all about risk, isn't it?
Yes.
So that's that very difficult line to assess. Fair?
It is. And it's interesting you ask about that. Hierarchical organizations, for sure. The public service is like that. But I think that needs to change, and it is changing. And I think an example is the Blueprint team, the secretariat that we've put together. We have a core team that's working on this. So I meet with them weekly, and that's a very flat organization. Absolutely. And, sorry, what was the second part of it?
Well, it's, to me, the challenge in terms of managing in a more horizontal way in the future is really the notion of managing risk
Absolutely.
in the world in which we live, which is both hierarchical and obviously has that political overlay that no private sector organization faces.
Absolutely. And, I think that, first of all, certainly the public service has a reputation in some sense of being risk averse. I'm not sure we are that risk averse. I think that there are risks that we take on a regular basis. And I also think there is a place to take risk and there's a place not to take risk. And I think that you can create an environment where you can test out the things that you want to do that are a little bit riskier. There's always also mitigations around risk that you can take to ensure that in the end, that what you're going to produce is going to be well thought out, strategic, and to some extent taken care of the risk that's around it. So I think that we can take greater risks as long as we do it in a way. I said this in my speech too, collectively. You don't need to do it on your own. You think about the mitigations, and so I think that there's a lot of opportunity there.
The APEX surveys have consistently spoken about stress in the executive cadre. Is this part of the kind of, I don't know if the word is deliberations, but will be part of looking at the Destination 2020 document? In other words, the sort of health and well-being of the institution as well as the obvious need for it to change.
Right. Obviously, the health and well-being of institutions is very important. It's all part of the public service and ensuring that, the public service is well situated in that respect. I mean, that's all part of what we have to take into consideration in Blueprint 2020. There's obviously, that's the bigger overlay that's absolutely essential. The blueprint process itself is really about engaging employees, listening to what they have to say, listening to the issues that they've raised, and then taking those into account in developing the future of the public service.
The risk for the exercise are the expectations raised. When you see the numbers, 430,000 people engaged, 40% of employees, I find that an astonishing number, with 3,000 different ideas. The risk, it seems to me, for the success of this is that the expectation level has gone through the roof, and I cannot imagine how you will meet all of this.
I'm so excited that the engagement has been that high. I mean, it truly is, this process has been, it has exceeded all expectations. We're very excited about that. But you're absolutely right. Along with that comes the expectations of what will be delivered. And that actually keeps me up at night. And so I worry about the delivering on this, but I also think that the senior management, everyone is absolutely engaged in this and wants to deliver on this. And so we're already working on the Destination 2020 document that's going to come out in May. We've seen the interim reports. There's change happening everywhere. I talk to deputies all the time. They're telling me that, we've already implemented